Hey, third graders, I'm really excited to continue reading with you guys today. I know we took a little break just to get ourselves all caught up together, but we're going to start by reading chapter 19 and we will continue on to chapter 20. So this will be another 2-chapter read. So this chapter is called A Blessing of Sorts. 5 nights later at bedtime, Janie noticed the nice thing that Bat had done to thank her for coming up with the perfect name for Thor. It had taken him 2 days to forgive Janie for being so mean during spaghetti night, and another day to come up with an idea. He'd been waiting ever since for Janie to notice, so when she called out from her bedroom, "Mom, have you seen the top part of my unicorn pajamas?" Bat felt excited. "I did all the laundry that was in the basket," Mom answered. "You washed the bottoms, but not the top," Janie said. "Then you must not have put the top in the laundry basket." "Why would I put the bottoms but not the top?" Janie asked. "Why would I wash just the bottoms if the top was in the basket too?" Mom asked back. Then it was time for Bat to reveal the nice thing. "I know where your unicorn pajama top is," he said. "You do?" said Mom and Janie together. "Yes," Bat said. "I took it out of the dirty laundry basket." "Why would you do that?" Mom asked. "Because if I waited until after you washed it, then Thor wouldn't recognize Janie's scent." Janie had been the one to name Thor. Even though Bat didn't like the idea of sharing Thor with anyone, Janie had earned the right for Thor to know who she was. "Did you give that rodent my pajama top?" Janie's voice climbed higher and higher. "Actually," Bat said, "skunks aren't rodents. They're mephitidae. Should have practiced that word before I read it. People used to think that they belonged in the same family as weasels, ferrets, and badgers. But this scientist named Dr. Jerry Dragoo figured out that it doesn't matter, Bat," Janie said, interrupting him. "Go get my pajama top right now." "But it does matter," said Bat. Janie was not interested in hearing the difference between mephitidae and mestelidae. She refused to listen to anything until after Bat had gone to Thor's enclosure and retrieved the unicorn pajama top from the pile where Thor slept. And when he tried to hand it to her, she wouldn't even take it. "It smells like animal," she said. "It smelled like animal before, too," Bat said. "Because I took it from the dirty laundry basket and it smelled like you." She didn't scream exactly. Bat didn't know what to call the sound that she made just before she spun around and stomped back into her room and slammed the door. Bat felt tears gathering, ready to spill. Mom came over and hugged him tight. She didn't say anything, but she rocked him back and forth in the way he liked. And after a moment, Bat felt the sting of his tears begin to fade. So take a minute to pause the video if you need to and just take in how you think Janie might be feeling, about how Bat might be feeling, the two of them. And if you have a sibling at home, I'm sure that you've had something happened like this before where maybe you thought you were doing something kind for your sibling, but they just ended up getting mad or annoyed at you, or maybe vice versa. Maybe your sibling did something that they thought was kind for you, and you were like, "Oh, don't touch my stuff. I'm already annoyed at you, and you're just bothering me more now." So think about it from each end as Janie or Bat, and we can continue on. All right. "It was a nice gesture," Mom murmured into his hair. Bat liked the hot warmth of her breath. "Baby skunks are easier than sisters," Bat said. "That may be true," Mom answered. "But there are lots of baby skunks in the world, and you only have one sister." Gently, she took Janie's pajama top from Bat's hand. He hadn't realized that he was still clutching it. "Come on," she said. "I'll teach you how to do laundry." "Okay," said Bat. "But first, I need to check one thing." He stuck his head into Thor's enclosure to make sure the kit was settled back in after having his nest disturbed. Thor was sleeping, soundly making a noise like a tiny little snore. Bat pulled one of his own t-shirts up over Thor's body, tucking him in. Then he latched the enclosure and followed Mum to the laundry room. "Maybe if we use extra fabric softener," he said, "and make the pajama top softer than it's ever been, then maybe Janie won't be so mad." "I think that is a very good idea," Mum said, "and you can pour it in." Okie dokie. If you need to pause the video and check over your questions, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to keep reading. So this is chapter 20, Problems. "Earth to Bat," Mr. Grayson said. Bat looked up. He had been staring at his math workbook in front of him, but he hadn't been doing the problems. Usually, Bat liked math problems because he was good at them and they made sense. Usually, Bat asked for extra math problems when he was done with his regular math problems. But today, Bat didn't feel like doing the regular math problems, even though they were easy. Today, all Bat could think about was that time was passing very quickly and that he still hadn't heard back from Dr. Jerry Dragoo, world skunk expert. Uh-oh. "You look like you're having a hard time focusing today, Bat," said Mr. Grayson. "I'm not having a hard time focusing," said Bat. Let me rephrase that. "You look like you're having a hard time focusing on your schoolwork today, Bat." "Yes," said Bat. "I am focused on something else." He can't think about anything other than that stupid baby skunk," said Luca. "Thor isn't stupid," Bat said. He felt his throat grow tighter with anger. "Once my dog got sprayed by a skunk when we were camping," Israel said. "He was stinky for a week." Okay, said Mr. Grayson. "This is all very interesting, but right now is math time, not skunk time." There should be skunk time at school, thought Bat. He picked up his pencil and forced his brain to focus on the math problems. Most of them were too easy to even bother working out on paper, but he showed all the steps because Mr. Grayson liked it when he showed his work. And Bat liked Mr. Grayson. And Miss Asher also likes when you show your work, so keep that in mind. While part of Bat's brain worked with his hand to do the math work, he let another part of his brain think about skunk time. If there were a skunk time at school, like math time and language arts and yoga time, then maybe Bat could bring Thor with him. Maybe skunk time would be when everyone in class did research about skunks and wrote reports about skunks and built skunk dioramas. Over the last week, Bat had spent as much time as he could with Thor, but every day he had to leave him when it was time for school. The kit's fur was growing in all over, fuzzy, wild black hair with a bright white stripe down the center, from the tip of his nose to the tip of his tail. He was still small enough to fit curled into a little ball in Bat's two hands. Oh, look at this visual. Look at those hands. Look at how it starts. So tiny. Look at how small Thor was and how little by little he's grown so that he fits perfectly into Bat's hand still. This is a part of something we've learned in science, and I hope as you're reading and listening, you're thinking about what this might be as something grows and develops. Let's keep reading. And he'd had plenty of time to spend with Thor because Janie had barely spoken to him since the pajama top incident. She spent all her time in her room practicing the Off with Her Head song for Queen audition and going over to Ezra's house. Now and every other Friday was coming, and Bat would have to go with Janie to Dad's house. Even worse, no matter how much Bat begged and pleaded and bounced up and down, no matter how clearly he explained to Mom why she should change her mind, Thor would not be going to Dad's house with Bat and Janie. This every other Friday meant that Thor had already spent 2 weeks living with Bat and his family. And if Bat didn't find a way to change Mom's mind, in 2 more weeks, Thor would be leaving for the rescue center. Thor will be fine, Bat, Mom had said. Lawrence is going to take him for the weekend. It wasn't that Lawrence couldn't do a good job of taking care of animals, Bat thought as he finished the last row of math problems. It wasn't that Bat didn't trust Lawrence. It was just that, well, Bat didn't want anyone else taking care of the skunk kit. What if Lawrence did a better job? What if Thor was happier at Lawrence's house than at their house? And even if Lawrence was trustworthy, no one was perfect. What if Lawrence put the animal carrier on the top of his car while he unlocked the door and then he forgot it was up there and he drove away? What if Lawrence went out to get some ice cream and didn't remember to lock the door to his house and someone broke into it and stole Thor? Even if everything went just right, at the end of the weekend, they would be 2 days closer to Thor leaving them forever. Just thinking about that made Bat feel queasy, like he'd been jumping on a trampoline with a stomach full of pizza. Bat, said Mr. Grayson, do you need to take a little break? Bat stopped tapping his heels under the table. He pulled the neck of his t-shirt, which he'd been sucking on in the way he sometimes did when he felt nervous, out of his mouth. He set his pencil down. Yes, please, he said. In the back of the room, Baby Cake sat, placidly licking a light pink wheel of salt. Her ears flopped to the sides in relaxation. Bat wished he felt as calm as Baby Cake's looked. He climbed into her enclosure and sat cross-legged beside her, scratching behind her ears and thinking about the weekend. If his parents weren't divorced, then he wouldn't have to leave home every other weekend to go to his dad's dumb apartment. If his parents weren't divorced, Thor wouldn't be spending the weekend with Lawrence. That is it for today. Those are our 2 chapters. I hope you do your best on your questions. Thanks for listening, and take some time to reflect on everything you just read. That last chapter was a little deep. Bat's having a lot of mixed emotions about everything going on, especially surrounding Janie and the skunk kit Thor. So take some time before you jump in and do your questions to really think about that. And I will see you next time.